First contact. The desolate landscape of Kepler 22 bits stretched out before Captain Sarah Chen as she exited her damaged spacecraft. The alien sun cast an eerie purple glow across the rocky terrain, illuminating twisted spires of crystalline formations that jutted from the ground like nature's skyscrapers. Sarah's suit sensors indicated a breathable atmosphere, but she kept her helmet on as a precaution. Mission Control, this is Captain Chen. The crash landing was rougher than expected. The ship's beyond repair, but I survived with minor injuries, she reported into her comms. Only static answered her. The powerful magnetic fields of this alien world were likely interfering with long-range communications. Sarah was truly alone. As she surveyed the damage to her ship, movement caught her eye. A massive shadow fell across the crystalline plain. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she turned to face the source. Towering over her, easily 3 times her height, stood a humanoid figure. As Sarah's eyes adjusted to the backlighting, details emerged. The being was unmistakably female, with graceful curves accentuated by gleaming, iridescent skin. Long, flowing hair that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light framed a face of otherworldly beauty. The giant woman tilted her head, studying Sarah with eyes that glowed like twin amethysts. When she spoke, her voice was a melodic cascade that seemed to bypass Sarah's ears and resonate directly in her mind. "You are not of this world, little one," the alien said, her tone a mixture of curiosity and concern. Sarah swallowed hard, forcing herself to respond despite her awe. "No, I'm not. My name is Sarah Chen. I'm a human from the planet Earth." She gestured to her damaged craft. "My ship crashed. I mean you no harm." The giant woman's lips curved into a gentle smile. "We have long awaited the arrival of beings from beyond our skies. I am Zora, Elder of the Luminary. Welcome to our world, Sarah of Earth." As if on cue, more figures emerged from behind the crystalline formations. A dozen or more giant women, each unique in their coloring and features, but all sharing the same ethereal beauty as Zara. They regarded Sarah with a mixture of fascination and warmth. "You are injured," Zara observed, needing to bring herself closer to Sarah's level. Even kneeling, she towered over the human. "Come, we will tend to your wounds and provide shelter. There is much we can learn from each other." Sarah hesitated, her scientific training warring with her instincts for caution. But as she looked into Zara's eyes, she saw only kindness and genuine interest. This was why she had become an explorer, to make peaceful first contact with alien civilizations. "Thank you," Sarah said, taking a step towards Zara. "I have many questions about your people and your world." Zara's smile widened. "And we have many about you and yours, little one. Come, let us begin this exchange of knowledge." As Sarah followed Zara and the other luminary women across the alien landscape, her mind raced with the implications of this encounter. She had expected to find microbes or simple life forms on Kepler 22 bits. Instead, she had stumbled upon an advanced, seemingly peaceful civilization of giant, beautiful beings. The group approached a series of structures that seemed to grow organically from the crystalline terrain. Spiraling towers of translucent material caught the purple sunlight, refracting it into dazzling patterns. Sarah marveled at the alien architecture, so different from anything on Earth. "This is but one of our settlements," Zara explained, noticing Sarah's wonder. "We are few and spread far across this world. It has been many cycles since we gathered in great numbers." There was a note of sadness in Zara's voice that piqued Sarah's curiosity, but before she could inquire further, they arrived at the entrance to one of the structures. The material parted like liquid at Zara's touch, allowing them to enter. Inside, Sarah gasped in amazement. The interior was vastly larger than the outside suggested, with soaring ceilings and intricate patterns of light dancing along the walls. It was like standing inside a living gemstone. "Rest now, Sarah of Earth," Zara said, gesturing to an area that seemed to reshape itself into a human-sized resting place. "When you are ready, we have much to discuss." The arrival of your kind may herald great changes for the luminary. As Sarah settled into the surprisingly comfortable alien bed, her mind whirled with questions. Who were the luminary? How had they evolved into their current form? And what changes did Zara think Sarah's arrival might bring? Despite her excitement and curiosity, exhaustion from the crash and the day's events soon overtook her. As Sarah drifted off to sleep, she couldn't shake the feeling that her accidental discovery of the luminary was going to change everything, not just for her, but for all of humanity. In her last moments of consciousness, Sarah thought she heard whispers among the luminary women. Their musical voices blended together, but one word seemed to stand out: hope. Little did Sarah know, but her arrival on Kepler 22 bits was about to set in motion a chain of events that would challenge her understanding of life, ethics, and humanity's place in the cosmos. As she slept, the luminary gathered to discuss the unexpected arrival of the small, fragile being from beyond the stars, and the possibility that she might be the key to their species' survival. Cultural exchange. Sarah awoke to the gentle chiming of crystalline structures, their resonance filling the air with an otherworldly melody. As her eyes adjusted to the soft, ambient light, she found Zara waiting patiently nearby, her towering form radiating a calming presence. "You have rested well, Sarah of Earth?" Zara inquired, her melodic voice tinged with genuine concern. Sarah nodded, sitting up and marveling at how refreshed she felt. "Yes, thank you. I feel renewed." She paused, realizing her injuries from the crash had all but vanished. "How long was I asleep?" "Time flows differently here," Zara explained with a gentle smile. "What matters is that you are healed and ready to learn. Come, let us walk and talk." As they exited the structure, Sarah was struck anew by the alien beauty of Kepler 22 bits. The crystalline landscape shimmered under the purple sun, and in the distance, she could see other luminary going about their daily activities. "Your world is incredible," Sarah breathed, her scientist's mind racing to catalogue everything she saw. "How did your people come to evolve in such a unique way?" Zara's expression turned thoughtful. "Our history stretches back eons. We believe our ancestors were once small, like you. But as our star aged and grew hotter, we adapted. Our bodies grew to better regulate heat, our skin developed its reflective properties, and we learned to draw sustenance directly from the crystals that now dominate our world." As they walked, Sarah noticed intricate patterns etched into many of the crystal formations. "Are these decorative, or do they serve a purpose?" she asked, reaching out to touch one. "Both," Zara replied. "They are our history, our art, and our technology all in one. Watch." With a graceful gesture, Zara activated one of the patterns. It glowed brightly, and suddenly a holographic display appeared in the air before them, showing images of luminary history, their evolution, their achievements, and glimpses of a once thriving civilization. "This is amazing," Sarah marveled. "On Earth, we have to use complex machines to create displays like this. You've integrated it seamlessly into your environment." Zara nodded, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Tell me more about Earth, Zara. What kind of world do you come from?" For the next few hours, Sarah found herself engaged in a fascinating exchange of knowledge. She described Earth's diverse ecosystems, its teeming cities, and the variety of cultures that made up human civilization. The luminary listened with rapt attention, particularly intrigued by concepts like oceans and forests, which were foreign to their crystal world. In turn, Sarah learned more about luminary society. They were a peaceful people, focused on art, philosophy, and the stewardship of their fragile ecosystem. They had no concept of war or conflict, which both impressed and saddened Sarah as she thought of humanity's violent history. As the day wore on, Sarah noticed a recurring theme in the luminaries' questions. They seemed particularly interested in human relationships, family structures, and reproduction. "Why such fascination with how humans form families?" Sarah asked, her scientific curiosity piqued. Zara's expression turned solemn. "It is a matter of great importance to us, Sarah. You see, for all our advancements, the Luminari face a grave challenge. Our numbers have been dwindling for generations. We have not seen a new birth in over a century. The weight of this revelation stunned Sarah. But how? Why? We do not fully understand, Zara admitted. Our adaptations that allowed us to thrive on this world may have come at a cost. We have theories, but no solutions. That is why your arrival has caused such excitement among our people. You represent new hope, a chance to learn, to understand what we may have lost. As Sarah processed this information, she began to understand the deeper implications of her presence on Kepler 22 bits. She wasn't just an explorer making first contact, she was potentially the key to saving an entire species from extinction. I want to help, Sarah said firmly. I'm not sure how much I can do alone, but I'll share everything I know about human biology and reproduction. Maybe together we can find a solution. Zora's eyes glowed with gratitude. Thank you, Sarah of Earth. Your willingness to aid us means more than you can know. But I must warn you, the path ahead may challenge your perceptions and push the boundaries of what you believe possible. As the purple sun began to set, casting long shadows across the crystalline landscape, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She had come to Kepler 22 bits, seeking scientific discovery, but now found herself embroiled in a mission to save an alien race. The enormity of the task ahead was daunting, but the potential for groundbreaking discoveries and the chance to make a real difference fueled her determination. I'm ready for whatever challenges lie ahead, Sarah declared, standing tall despite her small stature compared to Zara. Let's work together and see what we can achieve. Zara smiled, a look of hope spreading across her ethereal features. Then let us begin, Sarah of Earth. Tomorrow, we will introduce you to our greatest minds and our most advanced technologies. Together, perhaps we can unlock the secrets that will ensure the Luminaries' future. As they made their way back to the living quarters, Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. She knew that her actions here could have far-reaching consequences, not just for the Luminary, but for humanity as well. The cultural exchange had only just begun, and already it promised to reshape her understanding of life, evolution, and the very nature of intelligent beings. Little did Sarah know, but the Luminary's request for help would soon push her to confront ethical dilemmas she had never imagined, testing the limits of her scientific principles and her own humanity. As night fell on Kepler 22 bits, the stage was set for a journey that would challenge everything Sarah thought she knew about life in the universe. The proposal. As the alien sun rose, bathing the crystalline landscape in a soft purple glow, Sarah found herself in what the Luminary called the Chamber of Echoes. The vast dome-shaped structure amplified and reflected sound in ways that defied Earth physics, allowing for complex communication among the giant women. Zara stood at the center, flanked by a council of Luminary elders. Their combined presence was awe-inspiring, yet Sarah sensed an underlying vulnerability beneath their statuesque forms. Sarah of Earth, Zara began, her voice resonating throughout the chamber. We have shared knowledge and culture. Now, we must speak of more urgent matters. One of the elders, her skin shimmering with a blue-green iridescence, stepped forward. I am Lyra, keeper of our genetic archives. We have studied the information you provided about human biology, and we believe we have identified the core of our problem. Holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing complex DNA structures that Sarah recognized as similar, yet distinctly alien compared to human genetics. Our adaptation to this world has altered us on a fundamental level, Lyra explained. The very changes that allowed us to thrive here have also rendered us incapable of natural reproduction. We are, in essence, the last generation of Luminary. The gravity of the situation hit Sarah like a physical force. But surely with your advanced technology, you could find a way to overcome this. Genetic engineering, perhaps. Another elder, her hair resembling flowing silver, shook her head. We have tried, Sarah. For centuries, we've attempted to reverse our evolutionary changes to no avail. Our biology is now so far removed from its original state that we lack the basic building blocks needed for reproduction. Zora's eyes met Sarah's, a mix of hope and desperation shining in their amethyst depths. This is where you come in, Sarah. Your human DNA, while different from our original form, contains elements that we believe could be the key to our salvation. Sarah's scientific mind raced, grasping the implications. You want to use human DNA to help rebuild your reproductive capabilities. Yes, Zora confirmed, but it's more complex than that. We need more than just genetic material. We need a father. The word hung in the air, laden with meaning. Sarah's eyes widened as understanding dawned. You mean, you want me to? Lyra stepped in, her tone gentle but urgent. We are not asking for traditional reproduction, Sarah. What we propose is a melding of science and biology. Using your DNA as a template, combined with the willing participation of a human father, we believe we can create embryos that carry both luminary and human traits. These hybrid children would be the first step in revitalizing our species. Sarah's mind reeled. The scientist in her was fascinated by the possibility, seeing the potential for groundbreaking discoveries in genetics and evolution. But the human in her grappled with the ethical implications. This is a lot to process, Sarah said, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. You're essentially asking me to help create a new species. The implications are staggering. Zora nodded, understanding in her eyes. We know we are asking much of you, Sarah. This decision cannot be made lightly. But please understand, without this intervention, the luminary will cease to exist within a few generations. We are not merely seeking to continue our lineage. We are fighting for the very survival of our culture, our knowledge, and our way of life. The chamber fell silent, the weight of the moment palpable. Sarah looked around at the faces of the luminary, seeing hope, fear, and determination reflected in their otherworldly features. She thought of her mission, of humanity's long-held dreams of connecting with alien life. Never in her wildest imagination had she thought it would lead to this. I need time to think, Sarah finally said. This isn't just about me. If we were to go through with this, it would change the course of both our species. I need to consider all the implications, the potential consequences. The Luminary Council nodded in understanding. Zora stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on Sarah's shoulder. Despite the vast difference in their size, the gesture felt comforting. Take all the time you need, Sarah of Earth, Zora said softly. We have waited centuries. We can wait a while longer. But know this, whatever you decide, you have already given us something precious. You have given us hope. As Sarah left the Chamber of Echoes, her mind buzzed with conflicting thoughts and emotions. The fate of an entire species potentially rested on her decision. She thought of the beauty and wisdom of the luminary, of all that would be lost if they were to fade away. But she also thought of the unpredictable consequences of creating a hybrid species, of the responsibility such an act would entail. Walking among the towering crystal structures, Sarah realized that her journey had brought her to a crossroads, not just in her own life, but potentially in the history of two worlds. The decision before her would shape the future in ways she could barely comprehend. As the alien sun began to set, casting long shadows across the landscape, Sarah found a quiet spot to sit and reflect. She knew that whatever choice she made would have far-reaching consequences. The weight of this responsibility was enormous, but so too was the potential for a breakthrough that could reshape our understanding of life in the universe. With a deep breath, Sarah began to methodically analyze the situation, drawing on her scientific training and her own moral compass. She knew that the path ahead, whatever she chose, would be fraught with challenges. But as she watched the stars begin to appear in the alien sky, she felt a sense of purpose settling over her. This was why she had become an explorer, to push the boundaries of human knowledge and to forge connections across the vastness of space. Now, faced with an opportunity and a challenge greater than anything she could have imagined, Sarah steeled herself for the difficult decisions that lay ahead. Ethical dilemma. The following days were a whirlwind of intense discussions, scientific debates, and deep personal reflection for Sarah. She spent hours in the Luminaries' vast archives, poring over their historical and genetic records, trying to fully grasp the scope of their predicament. In quieter moments, she found herself wandering the crystalline landscapes, marveling at the alien beauty while grappling with the enormous ethical implications of the Luminaries' proposal. One evening, as the purple sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah found Zara waiting for her at the entrance of a secluded grotto. "Walk with me, Sarah," Zara invited, her voice gentle. "I sense the weight of your thoughts." As they strolled through the bioluminescent cavern, its walls pulsing with soft, ever-changing colors, Sarah finally voiced her concerns. "Zara, I understand the desperation of your people," she began, choosing her words carefully. "But creating a hybrid species, it's not something to be taken lightly. There are so many unknowns, so many potential consequences we can't foresee." Zara nodded, her expression solemn. "We are acutely aware of the gravity of our request, Sarah, but consider the alternative, the extinction of our entire civilization, all our knowledge and culture lost to time." Sarah sighed, running a hand through her hair. "I've been thinking about alternatives. What about cloning? Or perhaps we could find a way to reactivate the dormant reproductive genes in your DNA." "We have explored those avenues extensively," Zara replied, a hint of sadness in her voice. "Our biology has diverged too far from its original state. Cloning only replicates our current non-viable form, and our reproductive genes aren't merely dormant, they've been fundamentally altered by our evolution." They reached a small pool, its surface reflecting the bioluminescent patterns of the cavern walls. Sarah knelt beside it, her reflection distorted by the gentle ripples. "Even if we could create viable hybrid embryos," Sarah mused, "what kind of life would these children have? They'd be caught between two worlds, not fully human, not fully luminary." Zara knelt beside her, her massive form graceful despite her size. "Is that not the story of all children, Sarah? To forge their own path between the worlds of their parents. We would nurture these hybrids, teach them of both their heritages. They would be a bridge between our peoples, a new chapter in the story of life in the universe." Sarah couldn't deny the poetry in Zara's words, but practical concerns still nagged at her. What about the physical differences? The size disparity alone would create enormous challenges. "Our scientists believe that the hybrids would likely be intermediate in size," Zara explained, "and we have technology that could help manage any physiological challenges. But you're right to be concerned, Sarah. We don't take these risks lightly." As they continued their walk, Sarah's mind raced with more questions. "Have you considered the long-term implications? If this works, what happens when the hybrids mature? Will they be able to reproduce among themselves, or will they face the same challenges you do now?" Zara's eyes glimmered with a mix of hope and uncertainty. "That is one of many questions we cannot answer with certainty, but we believe that by reintroducing viable reproductive genes into our lineage, we can gradually restore our species' ability to procreate naturally. The hybrids would be the first step in a long journey of renewal." They emerged from the grotto into the cool night air. The stars above seemed to shine with particular brilliance, reminding Sarah of the vast, unknown universe that had brought her to this moment. "There's another aspect we need to consider," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. "If we go through with this, it won't just change your society. News of a human-alien hybrid species would reshape humanity's understanding of our place in the cosmos. Are we ready for that?" Zara was silent for a long moment, her gaze fixed on the starry sky. "Perhaps that is part of why you are here, Sarah. Not just to save our kind, but to help both our peoples take the next step in our cosmic journey." The weight of the decision pressed heavily on Sarah. She thought of her training, of the scientific oaths she had taken, but she also thought of the incredible opportunity before her, the chance to not just study alien life, but to play a role in ensuring its survival and evolution. "I need to consult with my own people," Sarah finally said. This decision is bigger than just me. If we're going to do this, we need to involve more human scientists, ethicists, perhaps even diplomats. Zara nodded, understanding in her eyes. Of course. But remember, Zara, time is not on our side. Each passing season sees our numbers dwindle further. As they made their way back to the Luminary settlement, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She knew that whatever path she chose would have profound implications for both humanity and the Luminary. I'll compose a message to send back to Earth, Sarah decided. I'll explain the situation and request guidance. But Zara, she added, turning to face the towering alien, regardless of what they say, I want you to know that I'm committed to finding a solution. One way or another, I'll do everything in my power to help your people. Zara's eyes shimmered with gratitude. Thank you, Sarah of Earth. Your compassion gives us hope. Whatever comes, know that you will always have a home among the Luminary. As Sarah prepared to send her message across the vast expanse of space, she couldn't help but feel that she stood at a pivotal moment in history. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with ethical quandaries and unforeseen challenges, but it also held the promise of a future where humanity and the Luminary might forge a bond that transcended the boundaries of biology and culture. With a deep breath, Sarah began to compose her message, knowing that her words would set in motion events that could reshape the destiny of two worlds. Outside threat. As Sarah awaited a response from Earth, life on Kepler 22 bits settled into an uneasy routine. She continued to work closely with the Luminary scientists, exploring potential solutions to their reproductive crisis while grappling with the ethical implications of their proposal. One morning, as Sarah was reviewing genetic data with Lyra in the archives, a sudden tremor shook the crystalline structure. Alarms, sounding like ethereal chimes, echoed through the settlement. What's happening? Sarah asked, steadying herself against a console. Lyra's expression was grave. Something we feared but hoped would never come. Follow me, quickly. They rushed to the Chamber of Echoes, where Zara and the other elders were already gathered. The room's holographic displays showed a terrifying sight. Massive, insectoid creatures were swarming across the landscape, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming in the purple sunlight. The harvesters, Zara explained, her voice tight with concern. An aggressive species from a neighboring system. They consume crystalline-based life forms to fuel their technology. We've managed to avoid their attention for generations, but now... Sarah watched in horror as the alien swarm approached the Luminary settlement. How do we stop them? Our defenses are limited, one of the elders replied. We are a peaceful people. We lack the weapons or tactical knowledge to repel such an invasion. As the gravity of the situation sank in, Sarah realized that the fate of the Luminary now hung by an even thinner thread. Not only were they facing extinction through declining birth rates, but now an immediate threat to their very existence had literally appeared on their doorstep. There has to be something we can do, Sarah insisted, her mind racing. You said they're after crystalline-based life forms. Maybe we can use that against them somehow. Zora's eyes lit up with a glimmer of hope. Perhaps. Our scientists have been working on a resonance technology that interacts with our crystalline physiology. If we could adapt it, we could potentially disrupt the harvester's own crystalline components. Lyra finished, excitement building in her voice. Sarah nodded, a plan forming in her mind. Exactly, but we'll need to act fast. How quickly can we modify the technology? As the Luminary scientists sprang into action, Sarah found herself at the center of a desperate plan to save an alien civilization. The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity. Sarah's experience with Earth technology provided fresh insights, allowing the Luminary to approach their own tech from new angles. Meanwhile, the harvester swarm drew ever closer. From the safety of the Chamber of Echoes, Sarah watched as the insectoid creatures began to tear into the outlying crystal formations. The sound of their destruction sent shudders through the entire settlement. We're running out of time, Sarah muttered, turning back to the modified resonance device. How close are we? Laura made a final adjustment. I believe it's ready, but we've never tested anything like this before. The results could be unpredictable. We have no choice, Zara declared. We must act now or lose everything. With trembling hands, Sarah activated the device. A high-pitched whine filled the air, quickly building to a frequency beyond human hearing. The effect on the harvesters was immediate and dramatic. The swarm's coordinated movement faltered. Individual creatures began to twitch and convulse, their crystalline components vibrating at a destructive frequency. Some of the smaller harvesters simply shattered, while larger ones crashed to the ground, immobilized. It's working, Sarah exclaimed, hardly daring to believe their desperate plan had succeeded. But their victory was short-lived. As the harvesters retreated, leaving behind a scarred landscape, a new tremor shook the settlement, this time from within. The resonance, Lyra gasped, her iridescent skin paling. It's affecting our structures too. The entire settlement is destabilizing. Sarah watched in horror as cracks began to appear in the crystalline walls around them. The very technology that had saved them from the harvesters now threatened to destroy their home. Shut it down, Sarah yelled, lunging for the device. But even as she deactivated it, the damage was done. The once beautiful structures of the Luminary settlement were crumbling around them. We need to evacuate, Zara commanded, her voice carrying over the chaos. Gather what you can and head for the caves in the eastern mountains. As the Luminary rushed to salvage what they could of their civilization, Sarah felt a crushing weight of guilt. Her solution had saved them from immediate destruction, only to leave them homeless and more vulnerable than ever. Zara, I'm so sorry, Sarah began, but the Luminary elder silenced her with a gentle touch. You saved us, Sarah of Earth. Our homes can be rebuilt. Our lives and our future could not have been replaced. As they joined the exodus of Luminary fleeing their collapsing settlement, Sarah's mind whirled with the implications of what had just transpired. The threat of the harvesters had been temporarily thwarted, but at a terrible cost. And now, with their civilization in ruins, the Luminaries' need for a solution to their reproductive crisis was more urgent than ever. Sarah gazed at the stream of giant, beautiful aliens making their way across the crystalline plains, their forms shimmering in the alien sunlight. She had come to care deeply for these beings, to admire their wisdom and their gentle nature. Now more than ever, she was determined to find a way to ensure their survival. As they trudged towards the distant mountains, Sarah's hand unconsciously moved to the communicator at her belt. There had been no response from Earth yet, but now she hoped more fervently than ever for a message. The Luminary needed help, not just to solve their genetic crisis, but to rebuild and defend their world. The purple sun began to set on Kepler 22 bits, casting long shadows across the ravaged landscape. Sarah knew that the challenges ahead were greater than ever, but as she walked alongside Zara and the other Luminary, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. Whatever came next, she was committed to standing with these gentle giants and fighting for their future. Little did Sarah know, but the events of this day would set in motion a chain of discoveries and decisions that would not only shape the fate of the Luminary, but potentially redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. A new understanding. The caves in the eastern mountains provided a temporary sanctuary for the displaced Luminary. As days turned into weeks, Sarah worked tirelessly alongside her alien friends, helping to establish a makeshift settlement and continuing their research into the reproductive crisis. One evening, as Sarah sat at the entrance of the main cave, gazing at the unfamiliar constellations, her communicator suddenly crackled to life. Her heart raced as she recognized the signal. A response from Earth had finally arrived. With trembling hands, Sarah activated the message. The holographic figure of Dr. Elena Rodriguez, her mentor and the head of the Earth's Interstellar Exploration Committee, flickered into view. Sarah, Elena's voice was filled with a mix of concern and excitement. We've received your messages. The situation you've described, it's beyond anything we could have imagined. The committee has been in non-stop sessions discussing the implications. Sarah listened intently as Elena outlined Earth's response. The news was both encouraging and daunting. A relief mission was being prepared, a team of scientists, diplomats, and even a small security force to help protect against future harvester attacks. But Sarah, Elena's tone grew serious. The proposal to create human luminary hybrids, it's controversial, to say the least. There are concerns about the ethical implications, the potential risks to both species. Sarah nodded, understanding the hesitation. I've grappled with those same concerns, Elena, but having lived among the luminary, seen their plight firsthand, I believe this may be their only chance at survival. Elena's holographic form seemed to sigh. The committee is divided on the issue. They've authorized continued research, but any actual attempt at creating hybrids will require further approval. In the meantime, focus on helping the luminary rebuild and defend themselves. The relief mission should arrive within a few months. As the transmission ended, Sarah felt a complex mix of emotions. Help was coming, but the luminary's most pressing need, a solution to their reproductive crisis, remained unresolved. She made her way deeper into the K system, finding Zara and the other elders in what had become their new chamber of echoes. The space hummed with the soft glow of bioluminescent crystals, a pale imitation of their former home. Earth has responded, Sarah announced, her voice echoing in the cavern. She outlined the message, watching as hope and disappointment played across the luminary faces. Zara stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. This is both good news and challenging, Sarah. We are grateful for Earth's willingness to aid us, but our time grows short. Already, we have lost 2 more of our elders to age since the harvester attack. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of urgency. I know. That's why I think we need to take a bold step. With your permission, I'd like to volunteer myself for the hybrid program. A gasp rippled through the assembled luminary. Zara's eyes widened. Sarah, are you certain? The risks to you could be significant. I'm sure, Sarah replied, her voice steady. I studied your physiology, your genetic structure. I believe that with careful modification, my DNA could be compatible. It's not just about saving your species anymore. It's about forging a connection between our peoples that goes beyond diplomacy or scientific exchange. Lyra, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. There's merit to Sarah's proposal. Her intimate knowledge of both human and luminary biology could increase our chances of success. But the ethical concerns will always be there, Sarah finished. But sometimes, progress requires us to take risks, to push boundaries. I'm willing to do this, not just for the luminary, but for the advancement of both our species. The cave fell silent as the luminary considered Sarah's offer. Finally, Zara spoke, her voice filled with emotion. Sarah of Earth, your willingness to sacrifice for our people moves us deeply. If you are truly committed to this path, we accept your offer with profound gratitude. Over the next few weeks, Sarah worked closely with Lyra and the other luminary scientists, preparing for the unprecedented experiment. They used the limited resources available in their cave refuge to set up a makeshift laboratory, combining luminary crystal technology with Sarah's knowledge of human medical procedures. As the day of the procedure approached, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. She knew the risks were significant, but the potential rewards, both for the luminary and for human understanding of genetics and evolution, were immeasurable. The night before the experiment, Sarah stood at the cave entrance, looking out over the crystalline landscape of Kepler-22 bits. Zara joined her, the luminary's towering form providing a comforting presence. Are you afraid, Sarah? Zara asked gently. Sarah took a deep breath. A little, but mostly I feel ready, like everything in my life has been leading to this moment. Zara nodded, her eyes shimmering with emotion. Whatever happens tomorrow, know that you have already changed us, Sarah. You've given us hope, shown us the best of what humanity can be. As the alien sun began to rise, casting its purple glow across the landscape, Sarah felt a sense of peace settle over her. She was about to take a leap into the unknown, to become a bridge between two worlds in the most profound way possible. "Let's make history," Sarah said, turning to Zara with a smile. Together, human and luminary walked back into the cave, ready to embark on a journey that would reshape the future of both their species. As they disappeared into the depths of the mountain, the first rays of sunlight caught the crystalline structures outside, sending rainbow refractions dancing across the alien world, a fitting symbol for the new dawn that was about to break for both humanity and the luminary. A new dawn. Months had passed since Sarah's groundbreaking procedure. The caves that had once been a refuge now bustled with activity, a blend of luminary grace and human efficiency. The relief mission from Earth had arrived, bringing with it a wealth of resources and expertise. But all eyes were on Sarah, her body now host to something entirely new in the universe. Sarah stood before a holographic display, her slightly swollen belly visible beneath her adapted uniform. The image showed a developing fetus, unmistakably unique, neither fully human nor luminary, but a perfect blend of both. "The hybrid's development is proceeding better than we could have hoped," Lyra announced, her voice filled with barely contained excitement. "The fusion of human and luminary DNA has resulted in a being that appears to have the best traits of both species." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who had insisted on joining the relief mission herself, nodded in agreement. "It's remarkable. The fetus shows signs of both the luminary's advanced cognitive structures and the adaptability of human physiology. If this succeeds, it could revolutionize our understanding of genetics and evolution." Zora, who had barely left Sarah's side throughout the pregnancy, placed a gentle hand on Sarah's shoulder. "How do you feel, Sarah? Not just physically, but emotionally." Sarah took a deep breath, considering the question. "It's overwhelming, exciting, terrifying. I feel like I'm carrying the future of two species inside me, but mostly I feel hopeful." The months that followed were a whirlwind of medical checkups, scientific breakthroughs, and careful preparations. As Sarah's pregnancy progressed, the luminary and human scientists worked tirelessly to ensure that both mother and child would be safe during the birth. Finally, the day arrived. As Sarah went into labor, the entire cave complex seemed to hold its breath. Humans and luminary alike gathered outside the medical bay, waiting anxiously for news. Hours passed, filled with the sounds of medical equipment and Sarah's determined efforts. And then, at last, a new sound filled the air, the cry of a newborn, unlike any heard before on Earth or Kepler 22 bits. Zara emerged from the medical bay, her eyes shimmering with tears of joy. "It's stunned," she announced, her voice carrying through the hushed crowd. "Sarah and the child are both well. We have witnessed a miracle today, the birth of a new future for both our peoples." The news spread rapidly, not just through the cave complex, but across the expanse of space to Earth. The successful birth of a human luminary hybrid marked a turning point in interstellar relations and scientific advancement. In the weeks that followed, as Sarah recovered and bonded with her child, delegations from Earth arrived to witness the miracle firsthand. The baby, a girl named Aurora, became a symbol of hope and unity. Her skin had a subtle, iridescent sheen, reminiscent of the luminary, while her size and overall structure were more human-like. Her eyes, a striking blend of human blue and luminary amethyst, seemed to hold the wisdom of both species. As Aurora grew, it became clear that she possessed remarkable abilities. She exhibited the luminary's affinity for crystal technology, able to interact with it instinctively, while also showing the quick learning and adaptability characteristic of humans. Her very existence began to bridge the gap between the two species in ways no one had anticipated. The success of Aurora's birth led to careful, ethical expansion of the hybrid program. Other human volunteers came forward, and soon a small but growing population of hybrids began to flourish on Kepler 22 bits. Each new birth brought fresh hope for the Luminaries' future and new insights into the potential of combining human and alien genetics. But perhaps the most profound change was in the relationship between humans and Luminari. The shared experience of creating and raising these hybrid children fostered a deep bond between the two species. Cultural exchange flourished, with humans learning the Luminaries' profound connection to their crystalline world, while the Luminari embraced human creativity and innovation. Years passed, and the once-dying Luminari civilization began to thrive once more. The hybrid children, as they grew, developed their own unique culture, a beautiful blend of human and Luminari traditions. They became ambassadors between worlds, their very existence a testament to the power of cooperation and the limitless potential of life in the universe. Sarah, now viewed as a pioneer and hero by both humans and Luminari, watched with pride as Aurora took her first steps into a leadership role among the hybrid community. As she stood at the entrance of what had once been a refuge cave, now transformed into a thriving center of interstellar cooperation, Sarah reflected on the incredible journey that had led to this moment. The purple sun of Kepler 22 bits was setting, its light refracting through the crystalline structures that once again dotted the landscape. But now, alongside the alien beauty, stood monuments of human design, a visual representation of the harmony that had been achieved. Zara joined Sarah, the two friends gazing out at the world they had helped to shape. Did you ever imagine, when you first crashed on our world, that this would be the outcome? Zara asked, her voice filled with wonder. Sarah smiled, shaking her head. Never in my wildest dreams. But that's the beauty of exploration, isn't it? You never know what incredible discoveries await, what connections can be forged across the stars. As night fell on Kepler 22 bits, the bioluminescent glow of the hybrid city illuminated the landscape. It stood as a beacon of hope, a shining example of what could be achieved when two species came together in mutual understanding and respect. The future that stretched out before them was bright, full of possibilities that neither humans nor Luminari could have imagined on their own. Sarah's journey, which had begun with a crash landing on an alien world, had led to the birth of a new era of interstellar cooperation. As she watched Aurora lead a group of human, Luminari, and hybrid children in a game that blended elements of both cultures, Sarah knew that the greatest adventure, for both her and for all of humanity, was just beginning. The story of the human and the Luminari had evolved into something greater than either species could have anticipated. It had become a testament to the enduring power of hope, the strength found in diversity, and the limitless potential of life in the vast expanse of the cosmos.